shoots the Avalanche 43-35 this evening, and Sergei Bobrovsky gets his third shutout of the season as Florida gets the win. And that is it. That's the whole enchilada. That is our broadcast. We want to thank everyone who made it possible. Start the folks here at the station with me. Doing a fine job holding it down has been Jordan Berg. Our next broadcast comes at you on Tuesday night. The Avs will be in the district to take on the Washington Capitals. Broadcast time is 4:30. Once again, the final, Florida 4, Colorado 0 for Connor McGahey. I'm Mark Bertinelli saying thanks a lot for listening. Have a good night, everybody. For those listening locally to our flagship station, Altitude Sports Radio 92.5, stay tuned for Between the Pipes with Alex Ryan-Emmy and Mark Springer. For the rest of you, we'll see you on Tuesday right here on the Altitude Radio Network.
This has been the Avalanche Aftermath Postgame Show with Mark Bertinelli.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Network producers are Jesse Trujillo, Alan Baca, Steve Nelson, Mark Springer, Jordan Berg, Dan Tanner, and Cole Smith. Network creative director is Marky Lindemolder. Network production director is Steve Cassidy. Traffic directors are Megan Rose and Tik Tantiwangumpai. Network sales manager is Dan Stores. Network director is Kevin Shockey. Chief network engineer is Jason Gorodetzer. Senior vice president of the Altitude Radio Network is Dave Fleck.
You want a hard-working team? There it is right there.
This broadcast was a presentation of the National Hockey League and the Altitude Radio Network.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Colorado Avalanche postgame coverage continues now. Let's go Between the Pipes with Alex Ryan-Emmy and Mark Springer on Denver's official home for Avs hockey. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
The fans that are left here at American Bank Arena have started to chant, I assume it's Bobby, for the Bobrovsky shutout. That will happen momentarily. 3 seconds to go, 2 seconds, 1. And mercifully, this one is over. The Avalanche had a ton of chances early. Bobrovsky stood tall. He gets the shutout, and the Panthers get the 4-0 win. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. And the Avalanche look for answers. Hopefully, they'll come Tuesday in Washington, D.C.
Welcome to Between the Pipes here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Avs fall for the 4th consecutive time. For the first time this season, a score of 4-0. Sergei Bobrovsky backstopping the Panthers. 35 saves on 35 shots against. And while this game felt closer than it actually was after the first period, it was 2-0 Florida thanks to 2 power play goals. Colorado failed to score on their lone power play opportunity of the game. The second and third period were as lopsided and dominant as we have seen this season for an Avalanche opponent. And coming out of the break, the Avs have now just garnered a single point of a possible 8 on this season-long 6-game road trip as we welcome you into Between the Pipes here on Altitude Sports Radio. I'm your host tonight, Alex Ryan-Emmy. You guys know me better as Raj, joined by Jordan Berg behind the glass in the Bud Light Studios. And as always, my partner, my co-host, the radio machine on a snowy, nippy Saturday evening, Mark Springer.
Icy roads out there. Be careful, everybody. It was icy on my drive over. There's no doubt that this 6-game road trip, the 4 completed so far, it's not been great. There's no doubt about it. But it reminds me of a couple stretches that the Avs have had already this season. And keep in mind, like, Florida today, they played really well. And they're a physical team. I know that, third period, they're washing Ross Colton's face after some whistles, and they're up 3-4-0. But they're sending a message. They were in the Cup Finals last year when they brought in Matthew Tkachuk. Like, that's an identity change for a team. They're bags now. and they're showing you, hey, we're here. And between New York, the first game of this road trip, Carolina on Thursday, and Florida tonight, I mean, those are possible Stanley Cup final previews, and they're all on the road. These are games 3, 4, and 6 on the road if you're the home team and you're playing 1, 2, 5, and 7 on your home ice. Okay, so these are road playoff games essentially, and they ain't go well, but a lot of times games 3 and 4 of your playoff series, they might not go so well. You're on their ice. These are very good teams. That being said, there is no denying that the Avs got goose egg tonight. They got bageled. They couldn't score.
They got boat raced. They were nowhere near.
No, they were not.
Nowhere near good enough to even sniff a win tonight.
No, the offense has been the problem on this road trip. I don't think Georgiev has been the problem, or Eustace Onanen even.
You could argue Georgiev giving up 4 goals tonight on 43 shots. You can make an argument that he was the best Avalanche player tonight.
Sure, and the first 2 are power play goals that Florida scores, and that's another problem for Colorado on their power play. They're over. They haven't scored a power. That's a huge problem, is that they have not scored a power play goal on this road trip. Look, was it the break? Now every team had a break, some a little longer than others.
Well, the Avs have been on a 2-week break at this point.
You know, Nathan McKinnon's at the All-Star game. He was smiling more than I've ever seen him smile. I'm trying not to get hot takey here because it is Nathan McKinnon. Did he lose his focus for just a half second? Did Cale Makar lose his focus for just a half second? Because, you know, him and Connor McDavid stole the show on skills nights, and cameras are in your face. The lights are bright. You're the center of the NHL world. Happy good times. Now you got to go play some of the best Eastern Conference teams, even New Jersey. They've been okay this season, and Jack Hughes was out, but they can score, and they scored 5 on you. It was Onanen. I'm trying to think of why this is going on, but again, Raj, it reminds me of a couple stretches earlier in the season where they go to Pittsburgh and lose 4-0. Then they go to Buffalo and lose 4-0. 2 games later, they go to Vegas and lose 7-0. Then it was rock bottom when they lost to the Blues 8-2. Over the course of the next couple months, they course corrected. I would be surprised if they don't do the same with 2 months to go in the season.
Oh, I'm not sitting here saying the season is over. Right? What I'm saying is that, unfortunately, when the Avs don't get anything from Nathan McKinnon or Cale Makar, like they haven't had much in this road trip, when you don't get anything out of that player, this team right now doesn't have much to punch back with. And RF Dean tweeted out 27 minutes ago, they are 6-12-4 in their last 22 road games when Nathan McKinnon, they're 6-12-4 in their last 22 road games, right? Like, you are not good away from Ball Arena. And all 3 of these past games, McKinnon has been held without a point, and the offense, outside of a leaky Zach Parise goal and a flip from center ice from Sam Girard, has been nowhere to be found. And that's where I look at this team and I go, what are they if a team in the playoffs inevitably shuts Nathan McKinnon down and shuts the Rantanen line down and shuts Makar down? Because then you play, and they can throw their best players at McKinnon. And if that's a wash, what do the Avs have left to give? And right now, it's nothing. Right now, it is absolutely nothing that this team has to give outside of Nathan McKinnon. When he's not going, they have no chance of winning a hockey game.
It's a game where you miss Valeri Nichushkin. I think none show more than today, because Florida treated this like a playoff game. The way they played, the way that they didn't back off. And I think that this road trip, you know, this is where it hurts being the road team on this road trip, because Florida up 2-0 in this game in the second period did not take their foot off the gas for a second. But it's easier to do that at home. When the Avs were up 1-0 in the third period in New York against the Rangers, you know, they went into more defense, let's not lose the game mode, but that's going to be more natural for the road team to not be able to continue to press in the third period against a New York Rangers team. So with today's game, though, again against Florida in their building, they got up 2-0. They treated it like a playoff game. They did not take their foot off the gas. You didn't have the offensive punch the other way. It's where you miss Valeri Nichushkin. Like today was a game where the margins show how slim they are. That being said, it shouldn't be this bad. There is no doubt about it. I'm surprised they got shut out tonight. I really am surprised.
Let's head back to Sunrise, Florida. This is Jared Bednar live speaking with the media.
Like move the puck quickly. It would seem like they were on top of us every time they sent it in. And when you're not getting the puck in and out of your zone cleanly, then you don't have the rush attack that you want. You're not going to have the attack you want. You're not going to spend as much time with good forechecks in the offensive zone. It's like a trickle-down effect up the ice. So that's the first thing. And we had a significant number of turnovers that led to scoring chances against too. But that was the first thing that popped out to me early, even in the first period.
How much are you going to need the leadership in that room to step up now?
Yeah, well, we'll need everybody. You know, like we'll break the game down, find clear, concise, accurate, description of what happened tonight. Because there's been portions of the last 3 games that I've really liked and just not consistent enough, or we make a mistake or two and it costing us games. So our goal tonight was to play a full 60 and kind of eliminate those mistakes, but bring the competitive spirit that we had in the Carolina game. Well, we didn't get it. I thought they were more competitive, heavier, more dialed in. So we got to go back to the drawing board, make sure they got the details that they need in order to have success, and then we'll have to get a little ornery and angry. I felt like we kind of went the other way tonight, maybe feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves instead of digging in and getting to work and sort of trying to work and climb and chip our way out of this thing. And so we'll have to start it next game, because it didn't happen tonight.
You said there were some turnovers in the first period. Did you like where things were at least with the process after the first period, or did you see the second period kind of coming to this?
Well, I didn't like our third. I thought it was, it got worse. But there was, the Colton line, regardless of, I played almost every line combination I could think of tonight, but Drouin, Colton, and OC had a really good start to the game, had some extended ozone time, lots of shots from the point, crashing the net, playing to their identity, and they continued that with some different wingers even in the second period. We finally got a little push where we put together a couple shifts in the second, but we were unable to beat Bob, and I think that frustrated our guys a little bit, and then the game kind of deteriorated from there. So there was some good things, but it wasn't from our whole group. It wasn't a 4-line 6D sort of rhythm. It was more just 1 or 2 lines kind of getting some work done at different points during the game.
Any update on Nate?
No, I haven't talked to the trainers yet. You guys saw the play, right? He hit his chin on the ice and got cut open there a little bit, so he went in for some work, but I haven't got it.
What do you think of Diourier's game tonight? He's faced a lot of shots.
I thought he was pretty sharp. You can't, we make a couple mistakes in the penalty kill, got caught in between coverage, dangerous power play, especially Reinhart in the middle. He faced some dangerous shots. I thought he looked pretty crisp and clean for most of the game, but you give up, some of the most dangerous ones off the turnovers, and third period was kind of ugly on the breakout side of things. So that's not on Gorgie. That's on the team in front of him tonight.
Coach, I think you touched on it a little bit, but those first couple games from the road trip, you said there were positives to take out of it. Is this a game where there's many positives?
I don't think there's a lot to take out of this one, besides really digging in on the details of our game and what we need to do to work our way out of it. Really, that's what we'll do. We'll dig into this one because we should have been a really hungry team, and they were hungrier than we were, I felt like, and so now we got to go right into the detail of our game, and it's more than just the competitiveness. We didn't make it easy on ourselves with some of the things that we weren't doing out there.
Okay, thank you.
Those are the post-game comments of Avalanche head coach Jared Bednar after his team has lost their 4th straight game. We'll react to that on the other side. It's Between the Pipes and Altitude Sports Radio.
The quarterbacks, the draft, the coaches, the Nuggets, the Avalanche, the Super Bowl. Denver's Sports Talk. Altitude Sports Radio. 92.5.
I got a nightmare phone call that no parent wants to receive.
Someone hit me going 60 miles an hour.
Dr. Ramos came highly recommended. When I showed him the x-rays, he immediately knew exactly what was wrong.
We've had a tremendous experience with Ramos Law. Really, I could not be happier.
Having the car accident was an accident. Finding Ramos Law was no accident.
Injured in a car accident? Ramos Law can help. RamosLaw.com.
It takes professional hockey players years of training and dedication to become so skilled at their profession that they make it look easy. The same can be said for the team at Plum Pros Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Drains. For over 20 years, Plum Pros has been providing Denver with good old-fashioned service, combined with the skill and expertise it takes to make their job look easy. For heating, cooling, plumbing, and drains, call Plum Pros today at 303-430-1911 or go to plumprosinc.com.
You've got Colorado Avalanche hockey on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Fighting for those inches. Keep it up.
Coming up after the game, we're reacting with you on Between the Pipes with Alex Ryan-Emmy and Mark Springer.
Hey, Colorado, it's me, Spring. After the game, join me and Rye. We'll break down tonight's action, plus take your calls, texts, and tweets. And we'll look ahead to what's next for your Colorado Avalanche.
Between the Pipes, after every Avalanche game on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass. Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text GLASS to 200-300 for your free consultation on top-quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text GLASS to 200-300 right now. Text the word GLASS to 200-300. Don't wait. Text GLASS to 200-300.
Jefferson, touchdown! I'm Justin Jefferson with the Minnesota Vikings.
Hi, I'm Jamar Chase with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Nobody can stop it. Why do I choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Because I only go all out.
Because I can't be stopped. Because my Sleep Number smart bed helps me sleep at the right temperature all night.
So we can take our game to the next level. That's why 80% of NFL players choose the Sleep Number smart bed. Sleep next level, perform next level.
Save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the
game. The courage of a groundhog, Valentine's Day love, and at Johnson Auto Plaza, a President's Day sales event with savings on new Jeeps and Ram trucks. There is only 29 shopping days available this month, so don't hesitate to visit Johnson Auto Plaza and explore the impressive selection of new Jeeps and Rams we have on hand right now. It's car buying made simple at Johnson Auto Plaza or online at johnsonautoplaza.com. The Johnson family strives to make buying a new vehicle easy. They're great people, and their huge selection are just a couple of reasons why the Johnson family turns first-time buyers into lifetime customers every day. See for yourself what makes Johnson Auto Plaza the best place to buy your new Jeep or Ram during this President's Day sales event. Johnson Auto Plaza, north of E470 on Highway 85, johnsonautoplaza.com, and now in Laramie.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Avs post-game continues.
Good job, boys.
You're Between the Pipes.
Between the Pipes on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Avs fall 4-0 to the Florida Panthers. They've now lost 4 straight games, just garnering 1 single point in those 4 games on the 6-game roadies. We welcome you back. Raj alongside Mark Springer. We just heard from Coach Jared Bednar. No update on Nathan MacKinnon. Hit his chin on the ice, got it split open. It just seems as though this was there's really a few minutes left in a game in which we're not competitive, so why would we put the most important piece of the organization back out onto the ice?
It was 3-0 Florida about midway through the third. Nate just kind of got tripped up trying to get around a Panthers player behind the net, kind of tripped over the net a little bit as well, just went down, landed chest/chin first. He was able to get up and skate off the ice. He looked fine. They were kind of cleaning his chin on the bench. It looks like it got split open. So, you know, he didn't go back in that game because the game was over. And then, you know, even if they maybe were going to patch him up real quick, the Panthers scored. Alex Barkov scored seconds later, so that made it 4-0. Then there was really no reason to put Nate back out there. It looks like, my guess is, based on what we saw, worst case scenario, concussion. You can get a concussion knocking your chin. He didn't show any symptoms in the brief moments we saw of him. Possible he fractured his jaw, didn't appear to be that. So just my eyeballs saw that he looked okay, and I'd expect him to play in D.C. against the Capitals.
You need him to play in D.C. This is the first time that Nathan MacKinnon's been held without a point in 4 straight games since the Vegas series in 2021. And it hasn't happened in the regular season since like 2019. And again, I look at this team without the production from Nathan MacKinnon. Where are you going to get it right now? And we saw some decent underlying numbers from Arturi Lehkonen playing with Ryan Johansson, but that ship has sailed for me. I'm done with that experiment.
And Jared Bednar has shown as much in the last 2 games. It's been more Lehkonen up with MacKinnon and Rantanen.
I don't know how they're going to move on from that, because $4 million, and again, half of his contract is being eaten right now by Nashville. And I don't know how the Avs are going to move on from it. Like, if you decide to cut him and waive him, then you have to eat $1.33 million both this year and next year on dead cap money, and the Avs don't want to do that, considering how tight against the cap they are. He doesn't fit on this team. And for me, tonight was the last straw for me. And it all started on, it was a early second period shift. Johansson breaks his stick, and this is when Florida had a 6-on-5 and just penned or not a 6-on-5, but a 5-on-5 with a stickless Ryan Johansson, and they just penned the Avs in their zone for like 45 seconds. They somehow got away without giving up a goal. But Johansson just like gave up. And that's the one thing that pissed me off the most about tonight's game is I don't mind losses. I don't mind lulls during the season. But when they look as uninspired as they did tonight, when they don't have any juice, any grit, any give a damn whatsoever, that's when I look at it and I go, what do they have to give on nights where they don't have everything? And you can look across the ice tonight. Like you called them, right? Florida's a bunch of bags, but they can create their own juice by being bags, right? Like you can drag yourself by your skate laces into the fight. And right now, I don't know if the Avs have that outside of Nathan MacKinnon dragging his team in. Is that a leadership thing? Is that a depth scoring thing? I don't know. But we're getting to the point where the trade deadline is now under a month away, and the front office has to make a decision as to what they think this team is. Is this a team that just needs some juice, some energy, some new blood, and some scoring injected into it so that it can make a run? It can make another legit run in a Stanley Cup championship? Or does the front office look at this team and go, well, we were cap strung, we tried our best, and they look at this team and they go, it just doesn't seem like they have it this year, and then you don't make a move at the deadline. You say, well, hopefully you can go win a couple of series, and if Nathan MacKinnon turns it on and Landeskog comes back and Nichushkin comes back, you can play and beat anyone, and you just kind of hope and wish and pray. That's the decision that we're getting to right now.
Okay, several things I want to react to there. I mean, just in general, though, with, you know, in the trade deadline, we're still like a month away from the trade deadline, right? And part of that is that right now, this stretch, this 6-game road trip for the Avs, looking at their schedule the rest of the way, and looking at their schedule before this, because they just had an East Coast road trip, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Boston, Philly. This one feels tougher because you had Montreal and Ottawa in there. Philly, good season, but they don't have the horses the Avs have. It was really just Toronto and Boston. Remember, they came back in Toronto. This team also hasn't played.
Everyone comes back in Toronto.
They do. The Leafs. You're not the Leafs, okay? So everything's
that
good,
is
right?
True.
And the Leafs are losing in Ottawa right now. But this is the toughest stretch of the schedule. So it gets easier after this. There's a little 4-game road trip in the middle of March: Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, St. Louis. That's what appears to be your next toughest stretch. This is going to look like way more difficult in a few weeks when we look back on it, based on the caliber of opponents that'll be ahead, and there will be more home games for the Avs too. So I wouldn't say like, oh, let's pause on the trade deadline. This team might not be anything. Let's get through this stretch. Let's get through Washington on Saturday. Washington is going to be the best example on this road trip, because this is the one team that the Avs should beat, definitely should beat on this road trip. The other 4-5 teams are all capable, very quality.
Not New Jersey. Not as constituted.
Well,
New Jersey.
the funny thing is
New Jersey was missing 3 legit NHL players, including their best defenseman and their best forward.
And the funny thing about that is the Avs' best hockey on this road trip was the third period in New Jersey
against a team that right now, because they've been so injured, is not a playoff team.
Sure.
So what's that tell you about the Avs?
Sure, but they tied that game at 3. Could have won that game. They outshot New Jersey 16-2 in the third period. Okay?
Way better team in the third.
So let's see what they look like in Washington on Saturday. If they don't look good in Washington on Saturday, then, Houston, we absolutely do have a problem, because that's the team you got to get right against.
If they look good against Washington, though, what does that tell you? It doesn't tell me anything.
It tells me that they have the same bounce back factor that they've had all season long.
That you can beat a non-playoff team.
These are road games, too. And what is a little odd is how the Avs fall to 500 on the road this season. They have been buttering their bread at home this season. Would you like to play a little better on the road, like some of the better teams are doing? For example, Dallas is 16-6-4 on the road. The Avs are now 12-12-4. But the Avs are 20-5 at home. Is this an Avs team that in the playoffs, you really do want that top seed, so you have that Game 7 at home, because this team's playing well at home this year.
This ain't helping.
And you go on the road, and it's a different story for them.
I'm not here to be doom and gloom guy, but it just looks like a team that needs a change. And I think it's not just an addition change. They need a 1B goaltender, right? Like, Georgiev was not the reason why they lost tonight. I think he was far and away the best Av on the ice tonight. And he's been shaky, but he needs help, right? Because if he gets shaky, if you don't have confidence in him, you need to be able to go to a backup netminder and be confident that he can win a hockey game. And right now, they do not have that in the organization. So again, I think they need to address backup goaltender in a big way. Jake Allen or Marc-Andre Fleury need to be here in Colorado for the stretch run. I don't know what they're going to be able to do at second line center. Like, the next best guy is probably Casey Middlestat. And maybe that's the future help right there. But I would cut Ryan Johansson tomorrow. I would trade Ryan Johansson tomorrow.
Ryan Johansson is what I wanted to react to next with what you said a couple minutes ago. At least this season, faceoffs have been his thing. They weren't so much today. He was under 50%, and he lost a faceoff in the D zone. I think it was the Luosterainen goal that made it 3-0. So, yes, Ryan Johansson, if he's not winning faceoffs, then he's really not doing a lot for you. That being said, it's $4 million. And I don't think anybody wants him.
No, nobody wants him.
Question, if you cut him, does that $4 million come off the books, or does it stay there in like a dead cap?
It's a dead cap situation.
So you can't cut. He's uncuttable then.
You would have to buy him out. So if you were to buy him out in the off season, the earliest you can buy a player out is June 15th of 2024. And you could buy him out because he's got one more year at $8 million. And it would cost you $1.3 million next year against the cap, because it would then also cost Nashville $1.3 million. And then in 25-26, which is like the recapture penalty, because he would have been a free agent. You would then have another $1.3 million dead cap hit the season after that. So you would have a savings of $2.6 million against what you actually owe him in the $8 million salary. You would save $2.6 million is what you would save.
This is a lot like Russell Wilson. Like, I don't know if it makes sense to have the ghost. Is it better to have the ghost of Ryan Johansson in the building or the actual Ryan Johansson?
The way
in the building.
Cutting him is not the option. That's not what you would be able to do. What you would have to do is you would have to go to a team like San Jose or a team like Chicago that's going to have to try and get themselves up to the cap floor and go, hey, here's Johansson's contract. We'll give you that. We'll give you a middle, like a third round, fourth round pick, and we'll give you a prospect to take this contract off our hands, and then the Avs are scot-free. And the reason why it helps is because you do have Nashville helping out that contract.
Sure.
You could do it. You could make a trade to get him out. He just doesn't fit. He doesn't fit. I don't think he has the foot speed to play on this team. I don't think he has the foot speed to play on many teams in the NHL right now. And he seems disinterested. He seems like he knows that he does not fit on the ice with this team. And tonight was as glaring as I've ever seen it.
I think that regardless of what they decide to do, let's assume that Johansson stays. That's probably the likely outcome. I think he can be an okay 3C, getting closer to 10 minutes a night. He got almost 16 minutes tonight. Is Ross Colton a perfect second-line center? No, but I think he can do it. I think at this point, you just have to make the Colton, Wood, O'Connor line, and they split that up. They were going Drouin, Colton, O'Connor, with Wood on the third line, with Johansson and Zach Parise. I think you put Wood back with his boys. And I get why they put Wood down to 3 to play with Johansson and Parise, because Miles Wood, very fast, north-south, two-way player. Maybe he could spark Johansson and Parise a little bit. And Jonathan Drouin has played well this season, so he only gets demoted to second line. I get that. But I would drop Drouin to third line with Johansson and Parise, and I would make the Roaring 20s your true second line. And then I'd keep Lehkonen
and just be top heavy
with McKinnon and Rantanen. And Mikko Rantanen needs to get going too.
He does.
He has 1 point on this 4-game swing out of the break, 1 goal in New Jersey. Look, if they're shutting Nathan McKinnon down, if they're keying on the best or second best forward in hockey, then Mikko's, then they're not keying on him. Mikko's got to make his presence known. Mikko's had a very good season when you look at his numbers, but by the eyeball test, like the tear that the tears, plural, that Nathan McKinnon has gone on this season, we need a visual tear like that from Mikko Rantanen.
You need to see him take over a game with his skating ability and his physicality, much like he did for parts of every season dating back for the last 4 years. There was always that stretch where Nate either went cold or Nate went down with an injury, and then Rantanen just took over, and you could tell that he was taking over. It wasn't just a contributing point here, there, and then, oh my God, look, he's top 10 in points again. Like, the guy does produce, but you need him to impact the game more than he's impacting the game right now. And the team feels off. Maybe it's a break hangover that's hitting them right now. Again, I said it tongue in cheek, but they're on a 2-week All-Star break right now. And luckily, what they've done throughout the season thus far has them just 2 points out of first place in the Central. Granted, Dallas has a game in hand, and Winnipeg has 4 games in hand, and they're going to win tonight, which doesn't help them whatsoever. You could be staring at third place in the Central if you don't find a way to win both of these games against Washington and Tampa Bay.
Here's another facet where they really miss Valeri Nichushkin, the penalty kill. The Avs have good penalty killing forwards, but they're smaller. That size that Valeri Nichushkin presents on the PK is huge, because that first goal of the game from Carter Verhaeghe is a result of Andrew Cogliano not being able to clear a puck out of the zone. Andrew Cogliano is a very good penalty killer. Logan O'Connor is a very good penalty killer. Arturi Lehkonen. I think it was Cogliano and Kivi Ranta starting the PK, which I actually have no problem with. But if Valeri Nichushkin was healthy, you better believe he would have been out there starting that PK. I bet that puck gets out of the zone and Verhaeghe never gets that goal. So offensively, they miss him. I think they miss him right now on the penalty kill as well.
He's just as integral as Arturi Lehkonen is in terms of piecing this lineup together. In terms, for me, the top 9 forwards. Missing him and missing Lehkonen are the two biggest things in terms of depth forwards, where you can then put these lines in a blender for good use, right? Like Bednar went to the blender tonight because they just didn't have anything going. Like the team he needed to find something that was hopefully going to work because he didn't have the effort there tonight. The team just simply didn't have the effort.
He went with the Colton, Rantanen, Lehkonen line.
It's crazy.
He's tried everything in the third period until Nate got hurt.
Is that and again, the big question for me is, what does Chris McFarland think this team is? Does Chris McFarland think this team is just a contender that needs an injection of new blood to get them jump started for the stretch run? Or does he look at this and go, we did everything we could because we were up against the cap. We took a swing on Ryan Johansson and we struck out on 3 pitches looking down the middle on a backwards K. And Ross Colton, while he is a fit, isn't producing at the level that you paid him to produce yet, right? I think the Ross Colton experiment is, what can he do for you in the postseason? Like, that's what matters the most about Ross Colton. And does he look at those additions and go, tried our best, cap goes up next year, we'll move a defenseman, hopefully one of the younger guys comes in, we get the kid Kovalenko from Russia, and we try and go do it next year, and we make, a trade in the offseason or a free agent acquisition in the offseason when we have cap room?
I think Chris McFarland views this team as a contender for sure. But I think he also understands how low on assets they are. Not to the point where they couldn't make a move. They could, but that would hurt them even more for next season. So I think he looks at it and says, to get a guy that would rise to the level of what we truly need, which is probably 2C. You saw it with Elias Lindholm. It's just too expensive. And so then even if it comes to acquiring those low-key, under-the-radar type guys that the Avs have acquired in the past, they still have a price on them as well. And I just think they know they can contend this season, but they're trying to regain flexibility for future seasons so that at the next deadline, they're not looking at it and saying, man, we made an aggressive move, we emptied our asset bag, and now we have nothing for next season.
The last thing that you want to do, I think, for this team and this core, and it's going to be it might be a very tough pill to swallow because of how the Avs have been up and down this year, and they don't instill the same confidence that they did during the Cup year, right? Like the Cup year, they had that swagger that you were like, dude, they're going to get this thing done. And right now I don't have that because they've been so inconsistent, so up and down. They haven't gotten the right depth scoring that they truly got a couple of years ago on the Cup run. You don't want Mikhail Boddicker 2.0. You can't afford
Lars Eller from last year. Even if, what did Lars cost?
I thought Lars cost like a second-round pick or something.
A second
like
is not. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap.
It's not cheap at all.
And so,
because I look at a second-round pick and I go, you could sweeten Ryan Johansson with a second-round pick and a prospect and go, just take it off our hands, we're done.
So you go,
and they don't have that.
So you go get whoever this year's Lars Eller is for a second, and you'll look back on it and you'll say, man, we shouldn't have done that. They probably look back on Lars from last deadline and say, well, we wanted to be aggressive, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, the second-round pick was the second-round pick from this year was part of the Arturi Lehkonen trade. So good on you. Great trade. The third-round pick from 2024 was the conditional pick that got sent to the Arizona Coyotes in the Darcy Kemper trade. So again, good on you. Great trade. You won a Stanley Cup championship with it. And then next year's second-round pick, the 2025 second-round pick, was part of the Lars Eller trade, where you traded him, or where Washington traded him to the Avs for a second-rounder, which is that's a tough look. That's
so now, what are they trading their 2026 second-rounder at this deadline? The problem is if you do that and it doesn't pan out and it doesn't get you a cup, you get closer to becoming the Los Angeles Lakers, where all you have are 2030 picks to trade. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. Like, this is why when they were aggressive to get Lehkonen and Manson and Kemper, it all paid off because you got a Super Bowl. Look at the LA Rams. Look at our coworkers, okay? When you F them picks and you go all in, and now the Avs still have assets. They do, but the more they can kind of keep their pool intact and then increase it with the draft coming up, it gives them more flexibility for next season. When Val Nichushkin comes back, it will feel like a trade deadline addition. He probably will come back around the same time as the trade deadline hits. And then so much of this team really could just hinge on whether or not Gabe Landeskog is coming back.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's the I know a lot of people look at that Gabe situation and go, well, you can't count on it. But that's the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is you have a $7 million captain who's the third longest tenured captain in the NHL right now. Sorry, fourth longest tenured captain in the NHL behind Ovechkin, Crosby, and... Oh, is he third now that Taves isn't the captain in Chicago? He might be third.
I'm not going to question it.
He might be up there. It's either third or fourth, just off the top of my head. The reality of the situation is that you're missing a $7 million player who can score upwards of 30 goals in the year, and you have to rely, if he's coming back, on him being that guy. And if he's not, the Avs are a different team entirely. The Avs without Gabriel Landeskog are a different team in terms of my outlook on what they can and can't do. And it's what the past 2 years have been me looking at this team going, maybe, I think they're good enough. They've got elite talent, but they're not the slam dunk that they used to be. And it's because you have $7 million and a guy who is an elite talent not playing for you.
And the good news, too, and let me just throw this score in here. And in fact, this is a great score to look at before we hit a break, and then we'll look around the rest of the NHL as well. Today, Boston at home against the Avs' next opponent, the Capitals. Maybe this is a little scary for the Avs because the Capitals go into Boston and win 3-0. Let's not forget, this is a tough league, okay? Mighty regular season, especially at home, Boston Bruins. They got blanked at home today by a very mid team in the Washington Capitals, 3-0. So my point there is, as I will always point out, looking around the rest of the league, that while the Avs are not a perfect team, and we've said this multiple times this season, even when things have been going well, this is always in the back of my mind, is that this is not the Kadri team that was absolutely freaking loaded. That was as loaded as this team will be, unless they remain flexible. Then maybe in like 2-3 years they can get that loaded again. Let's not underestimate how loaded that team was. That's as loaded as this team could possibly have gotten. That team doesn't exist in the NHL right now. Okay, so even though this is an imperfect Avs team, I point out that Boston scored today. Even Florida today looking good. I'm higher on Florida than you are. We've talked about this over the past few weeks.
No, you were. I am no longer trailing behind. Florida looks like they did in the post. They just have that it factor, and that's what the Avs are missing for me. They're missing the it factor. Florida looks like a team that can just drag themselves into every fight because of the culture of every player there. And the Avs look like a team to me that have to get drug in by their superstar.
Well, what's happened with the Avs is, because Makar is as good as he is, and you're getting him on a bargain in a way, but you're still paying $9 million-ish. Mikko, McKinnon, like when so much money is tied up in these top players, Florida is paying some good contracts, but they're able to balance their roster a little bit more across the board. What makes Florida tough is Matthew Tkachuk sets that tone for that team.
Such a good hockey player, man.
But that's what Ross Colton is here for. Is he Matthew Tkachuk? No, Ross Colton is not that player, but he's got some skill to his game. You mentioned earlier how he could show that in the playoffs, and I do think that we will see that. He will get under some dude's skin. But again, it's an imperfect team in an imperfect league, in a salary cap parity league. They still, even with as poor as they've looked on this road trip, I am not coming off of them too much because I've done it before. We did it with the Nuggets last March. I'm just not going to do it right now. But there is no denying that certainly the offense in these 4 games has not been good.
We'll take another time out. On the other side, we'll tell you what happened throughout the NHL, get you some picks for, I think, just a couple of games on Super Bowl Sunday early on, and then we'll send you guys off to bed on your Saturday evening. If you're driving, take it slow. It's icy out there. Rajan Spring on Altitude.
The Denver Broncos' all-time leading tackler, one of the greatest linebackers of all time, a Broncos Ring of Famer, and now leading the Orange Crush defense to Canton, Ohio.
We walked into the room at the Denver Bronco facility. There's about 25, 30 media people standing there. It finally sunk into my brain that I'm in.
Along with all of Broncos country, we congratulate Randy Gradishar on his induction to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
The honor came, and I'm just very excited.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. The Denver Broncos' all-time leading tackler, one of the greatest linebackers of all time, a Broncos Ring of Famer, and now leading the Orange Crush defense to Canton, Ohio.
We walked into the room at the Denver Bronco facility. It finally sunk into my brain that I'm in.
Along with all of Broncos country, we congratulate Randy Gradishar on his induction to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
The honor came, and I'm just very excited.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
With all we've been going through this year, this Valentine's is going to be a little more important.
So at Williams Jewelers, we've created our one-stop Valentine's package that makes telling your true love exactly how you feel. I'm Steve Williams.
And I'm Bruce Williams. You see, we're one of Colorado's largest fine jewelers with the designer brands she knows and loves, like Lagos and Gabriel & Company.
Thousands of quality, iconic, and yes, affordable pieces you won't find in any other store, starting at under $300.
And now, through Valentine's Day, with every purchase of $250 or more, you get a Valentine's card, a fresh cut rose, and a bottle of wine as our gift.
Guys, it's one-stop shopping.
This year, more than ever, Williams Jewelers in Cherry Creek North.
And Williams Jewelers in Inglewood at Bellevue and Broadway.
We're Denver's first family of fine jewelers.
And your one-stop Valentine's store.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
Where Colorado shines.
Jefferson, touchdown! I'm Justin Jefferson with the Minnesota Vikings.
Hi, I'm Jamar Chase with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Nobody can stop it. Why do I choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Because I only go all out.
Because I can't be stopped. Because my Sleep Number smart bed helps me sleep at the right temperature all night.
So we can take our game to the next level. That's why 80% of NFL players choose the Sleep Number smart bed. Sleep next level, perform next level.
Save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL.
King Soopers always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower than low prices. And when you download the King Soopers app, you can enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. So it's easy to save big. King Soopers, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Limit 10. King Soopers, fresh for everyone.
Altitude Sports Radio.
This is going to go fast, people. Pay attention.
More Denver sports talk in 60.
It's another February, Colorado. I hope yours is filled with a decent football game, the courage of a groundhog, Valentine's Day love, and at Johnson Auto Plaza, a President's Day sales event with savings on new Jeeps and Ram trucks. There is only 29 shopping days available this month, so don't hesitate to visit Johnson Auto Plaza and explore the impressive selection of new Jeeps and Rams we have on hand right now. It's car buying made simple at Johnson Auto Plaza or online at johnsonautoplaza.com. The Johnson family strives to make buying a new vehicle easy. They're great people, and their huge selection are just a couple of reasons why the Johnson family turns first-time buyers into lifetime customers every day. See for yourself what makes Johnson Auto Plaza the best place to buy your new Jeep or Ram during this President's Day sales event. Johnson Auto Plaza, north of E470 on Highway 85, johnsonautoplaza.com, and now in Laramie.
I got a nightmare phone call that no parent wants to receive.
Someone hit me going 60 miles an hour.
Dr. Ramos came highly recommended. When I showed him the x-rays, he immediately knew exactly what was wrong.
We've had a tremendous experience with Ramos Law. Really, I could not be happier.
Having the car accident was an accident. Finding Ramos Law was no accident.
Injured in a car accident? Ramos Law can help. RamosLaw.com.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Avs postgame continues.
Good job, boys.
You're Between the Pipes.
Avs fall 4-0 tonight. 4 straight losses to start the road trip. They'll take on the Washington Capitals on their 3rd game in 4 nights. Avs will have 2 nights off. Washington plays tonight. They play tomorrow morning. And they will also play the Avs on Tuesday evening. So 3 games in 4 nights for the Washington Capitals, an older team. As you said, right for the picking for the Avs. Hopefully they can get back on track there. But as we move on from the Avs and the disappointment of tonight.
Well, and we were talking about that during the break, though. The Avs with 2 days off, and then 3 games in 4 nights is what it'll be for Washington on Tuesday. Like, yeah, it's game number 5 of a 6-game road trip for Colorado, and that, your legs are going to get tired as the things go on. But if Colorado has 2 days off here, and DC is playing 3 and 4, you really got to go beat Washington on Tuesday.
It's a get-right game.
You have to.
And luckily, the schedule gods have put that in front of you.
Yeah.
After starting off this 4-game roadie with just they looked really good against New York. That was a great hockey game, really toughly contested, and Colorado was the better team in that game. I just thought it was a tough luck loss. New Jersey was a weird one, but dominated the 3rd period, deserved at least a point. You got 0. And then Carolina was a crap show, and tonight was the same.
Yep.
You can get back and get right. Again, my disappointment in the effort tonight is not me saying...
My concern with the Avs now is their road playoff games. I don't have a lot of faith in them right now to go win on the road in the playoffs. I have all the faith in the world in them to win at home in the playoffs. But now I'm a little concerned about road playoff games, and they should be the higher seed in their first series, but if they get through that and then they are in a situation where games 1 and 2 are on the road, I get a little concerned.
They went 2-1 on the road last year against Seattle. They won a must-have game 6 to force game 7, 4-1 on the road, and then they lost that 2-1 game at home against Seattle. And that was all she wrote, unfortunately, for them.
That was so weird. They played not good at home, good on the road in that Kraken series. Here in this 23-24 season, it's like their lesson coming out of that series was we need to be much better at home, and they accomplished that, and then they regressed on the road.
Let's take a look throughout the NHL scoreboard. Whole bunch of games today. I believe there's 13 hockey games around the league. The Jets got a 2-1 regulation win over the Penguins tonight. 4-2 for the Lightning as they double up the Jackets on the road. Hurricanes get a 1-0 shutout victory at home against the New Jersey Devils. The shutout goaltender there was
Kochetkov.
Pyotr Kochetkov, which
they restored their faith in him.
It was very Antti Raanta makes 9 saves on 9 opportunities against the Avs in the second period, has a lower body injury, and then they put Kochetkov back into the net, and he plays just fine in the third, and he parlays that into a 1-0 shutout.
I mean, you do kind of have to chalk that Girard goal up, and that's brutal to give up if you're Pyotr Kochetkov. But you do got to chalk that up to a fluke. Like, you just got to assume that will never happen again in his career.
Also, Pyotr, what are you? Come on.
It's
Peter. Come on, buddy. Come on.
Pyotr.
Senators 5-3 over the Maple Leafs tonight. They're now 21-25-2.
There's a bad Leafs loss. Lots of those this year.
Lots of those this year is right. Capitals blank the Bruins 3-0. Charlie Lindgren makes 18 saves on 18 opportunities. Alexander Ovechkin becomes the leading goal scorer in NHL history for empty net goals.
Oh, nice. Nice, cute little stat right there.
832 for his career overall, and his 57th empty net tally passes Wayne Gretzky for number 1 all time.
And Boston gets blanked at home today, 3-0. I doubt many people expected that. There's no perfect team in this league. What we learned today.
Flames get a 5-2 victory over the Islanders. Defenseman Mackenzie Weegar, who was part of that Matthew Tkachuk trade a couple of years ago, scores 3 goals in this game. Jacob Markstrom makes 35 saves on 37 shots against. The Red Wings get a 4-3 victory over the Canucks as Jake Wallman scores on a penalty shot in overtime to down the Canucks. Stars get a 3-2 win at Bell Center against the Canadiens. 2 tallies from Tyler Seguin is the difference in that game as they leapfrog the Avs into first place in the Central Division.
Yeah, Montreal's tough, and they play tomorrow. That's a team we possibly could bet on tomorrow. But Jake Ottinger's starting to play better, and he's starting to play better at the exact right time here in the back half of the season. But that should be expected. He's a good young talent.
Blues 3-1 over the Sabres. Jake Neighbors, 2 goals in that game. We currently have a game underway through 2 periods of play. Coyotes and Predators tied at 2. Dylan Genther just tied this one up. Roman Josi and Ryan O'Reilly have the goals for the Predators as they play in Nashville, and only one other game to go on tonight. Oilers are visiting the Kings. Oilers -125 road favorites tonight at Crypto.com Arena.
Well, we were right. The Vegas Golden Knights ended the Oilers' 16-game win streak. Both me and Raj predicted that a Jack Eichel-less Knights team, as solid home underdogs, would get it done, and they did. And then last night, Edmonton was in Anaheim. Anaheim took an early lead. Edmonton came back and tied it up. Then Anaheim took a 3-2 lead in the third period until the Oilers went bam, 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 and won that game 5-3. Now they'll play on the second night of a back-to-back, and they're road favorites on the second night of a back-to-back in Los Angeles. Now, they didn't have to get on a plane or anything. They're in SoCal still, but a Kings team that's been struggling, but this is an interesting matchup tonight. I like this one.
Are you taking any picks here tonight? -125 road favorites for Edmonton, +105 home, barely, but +105 home dogs for Los Angeles.
I will play Edmonton in this game at -130. I just think it's odd that they are that's a solid road favorite for being second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah, it is.
In Los Angeles, even though they've struggled over the past few weeks, you look at who they're all their guns are in the lineup tonight. Although it is David Riddick in goal. So I think that's the concern with the Kings. Stuart Skinner's been very good. This 25-year-old kid from the Edmonton area, I believe, is having a good season. Edmonton's getting the goaltending they're looking for. So I think they can get it done tonight. I will go with the Oilers to stay hot, despite that win streak coming to an end at -130. And since it's Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow, I'll have fun. I'll parlay it with the Canadiens +102 at home against the Blues.
I've got the Canadiens on the money line tomorrow. Spring's got them at +102. I've got them on ESPN Bet at even money. I'm taking the Canadiens on the money line at even. And I'll take Washington to cover the puck line at -1.5, paying out at +150. Put those two things together, they will parlay out at +400. Mention the Super Bowl. Who's your pick?
Chiefs. I mean, the first week off after the championship games, I was undecided. And then this past week, I said, you know what? There's no way Taylor Swift's losing this Super Bowl. We're going to go into a 2024 where Taylor Swift begins to put a stranglehold on the NFL, and who's going to beat her football team? Can the Broncos beat the Kansas City Taylor Swifts? That's going to be the storyline next season. Who can dethrone her from her crown in what is now becoming her league? If you don't like it, well, sucks to suck. Chiefs are going to win tomorrow.
I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping that the public money was going to push the Chiefs closer and closer to favorite line because I want the Niners, but I don't want them at -120. I don't want them at -125. I'd take them at -110, and I can't find it yet. If they get down to -110, I'm taking the Niners on the money line just because I hate the Chiefs. And if they don't get there, I'm doing the unthinkable and not putting money on the Super Bowl.
Hey, look, and I've said this week. It's any other game. Just like any NHL or NBA game, there's some matchups I look at and I say, I just don't like this matchup. I can't pick this one. And this is a tough one. But I'm just believing in Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Sneaky thing, though, because the Niners were up, 20-10 in the Super Bowl 4 years ago in the fourth quarter? If the Chiefs get down in this game, I will live bet the Chiefs to come back and win this game. That as well.
The only other bet that I've got going on tomorrow, Spring, is Noah Gray touchdown at like plus 850.
That's a fun one. Backup tight end for the Chiefs.
Backup tight end. He's my guy.
Hey, gotta love those big odds. You can just put a little bit on it.
That's going to do it for us tonight. Avs fall 4-0. Next time that you will hear our voices will be on Tuesday evening as the Avs take on the Washington Capitals. 5 p.m. puck drop, 4:30 p.m. pregame show right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. For Jordan Berg, for Mark Springer, I'm Alex Ryan-Emy. Get home safe tonight. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Screw the Chiefs. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Screw the Chiefs, but, money.
No one talks more Denver sports than Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Crazy to think of everything that's happened in the last 25 years, but one thing that's remained as consistent as ever is Plumline Services. From Fort Collins to Castle Rock, Plumline Services has been earning the trust of Coloradans with plum-crazy service and pricing on plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, and drain cleaning. Plumline and Carrier. Turn to the experts. Schedule your service online at plumlineservices.com. For 25 years and counting, Plumline Services partnering with great brands like Carrier. Service at home.